Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's start. The way things developed exceeded everyone's expectations. The Yuan family came with an arrogant attitude, demanding to see Shahao, incredibly overbearing, yet the result now was that he got beaten on the spot. Just how much time had passed? The changes were just too fast, leaving one speechless, a bit stupefied. What kind of place do you take Heavenly Deity Institution for? A place where one can bully the weak as the strong. Making all that noise, if you all aren't taught a proper lesson, are you all going to flatten this place, taking this as a place belonging to Yuan family? Shahao's lips curled. Peng. Shahao's foot kicked out. Yuan Hong released a miserable scream, his body flying out diagonally, smashing into a several 100,000 jin giant boulder, and then fell down, blood continuously flowing out from the corners of his mouth. The change in situation really was too fast. The originally domineering and arrogant Yuan Hong was beaten to this state, unable to resist at all, his bones broken and muscles snapped. Hey, can you stop pretending to be dead? Aren't you here to represent Yuan Qing? Can it be that Yuan Qing really is just this disappointing? Shahao walked up and then gave him 2 more kicks, beating Yuan Hong until his eyes rolled back, almost fainting. Having no sense of propriety like this, taking action against me, you won't be able to live for long. Yuan Hong said hatefully. He was truly angered badly. His status was extremely high, originating from the Yuan clan, yet in the end, he was beaten so viciously. For a great expert like him, this really left him too sullen. He was so angry his entire body was shaking, almost fainting. Still having such a hard mouth for one. Your Yuan family has done all those hateful things again and again, yet you still have the nerve to act arrogant here. I'm going to beat you into a pig head. Shahao said. He walked up, lifted Yuan Hong by the collar, and then raised his palm, starting to slap his face. The pilla-pala sounds were loud and clear, as if bamboo clapper boards were being used. Yuan Hong was spouting smoke from all 7 orifices, to the extent where even his brain was about to release smoke. He had never suffered this type of humiliation before. Being beaten by a younger generation like this, it was beyond intolerable. He struggled intensely, his eyes releasing flames, truly wishing to immediately kill Shahao. This was polar opposite from his usual immortal Dao appearance. Pa. Shahao definitely wouldn't act too politely, his palm delivering another vicious round of slapping without saying a word, beating him until his head was spinning, unable to tell east from west, his eyes seeing stars, ears ringing. Little bastard, you dare to humiliate me like this? You can forget about entering Sacred Academy in this life, and you can give up on going to Immortal Academy either. You won't ever have the chance to cultivate exceptional methods, just stop here. Yuan Hong was furious, threatening loudly. Who do you think you are? What qualifications do you have to speak in those 2 academies' place? Since you insist on being so hard-mouthed, then enjoy some more slaps. Shahao said, pai-pa sounds following without hesitation. Rat, you can show off and boast all you want here, but when you enter the 2 academies, you'll wish you were dead rather than alive. All of the experts there will suppress you together, you can't beg for life or death. Yuan Hong roared, his eyes filled with bloody wisps. He was truly going crazy from anger, feeling no more reservations, both his arms and legs moving, regardless of whether he had strength at all, only wishing to kill Shahao, completely losing all reason. Shahao didn't waste any words with him, just continuing to hit him. This time, Yuan Hong's face fully distorted, the teeth in his mouth falling out one after another, soon after completely fallen out. A glorious sect master level figure was humiliated like this. It really made him feel worse than being killed. His eyes were bright red, his hair standing on end, entire body taut, completely mad. However, there was nothing he could do. Right now, Shahao also had sect master level strength, and together with the 3 strands of immortal energy winding about his body, suppressing him was extremely easy, pressing him down and beating him up. Everyone was stupefied. What were these two doing? One was an important individual from the Yuan clan, who had sect master level strength, the other someone who cultivated 3 strands of immortal energy, a supreme being among his peers. Both of their statuses astonishing, but right now, it was as if they were in a marketplace streets, fighting roughly. Of course, this was definitely done intentionally by that youth, the purpose precisely to mock Yuan Hong, lifting him up by his collar, and beating him up. This left one between laughter and tears. The 2 extraordinary individuals were actually tangled about each other like this, one beating the other's mouth viciously, fists smashing down fiercely, making one feel a bit dizzy from watching. Soon afterwards, Yuan Hong's face swelled greatly, as if it immediately became much bigger, even his eyes hidden under his swollen face. As a sect master, his body was like diamond that had been refined 100 times over. If one didn't call it sturdy and unbreaking, then it was definitely not far off. However, in the end, it was as if hoodlums were fighting in the markets, his wounds shockingly similar. Humiliating. Truly extraordinary shame. Yuan Hong didn't have teeth in his mouth, so his voice was a bit off as he shouted there. Are you really Yuan Qing's son? But your performance really is too lacking, not having any strength, truly losing face for your father. Shahao shook his head, commenting. He already let go of his hand, throwing Yuan Hong to the ground, looking down on him from above. Everyone was stunned. Just now, they had almost forgotten Yuan Hong's identity. That was but Yuan Qing's Supreme Being's own son, his direct line of descent, yet he was beaten up like this. Everything has already been said. Your Yuan family isn't enough, believing yourselves to be infallible, clearly just a half Supreme Being, yet you insist on pretending to be a Supreme Being family. Now, you've all been exposed, right? Truly deserving to be beaten. Shahao ridiculed. Yuan Hong was now exhaling more than he was breathing in, already unable to display any more anger. He laid there, his face fallen, swollen to a ridiculous state, mouth opened as he breathed heavily, truly like a beaten dog. What else do you still want to say? What did you come here for? Shahao sat on a large rock, asking like this. Everyone was speechless. This fella really wasn't some good person. He was previously criticized harshly by Yuan Hong, this person arriving imposingly, but Shahao didn't pay him any attention, and now, he beat the other party into this kind of state, interrogating him instead. Yuan Hong was so angry the roots of his teeth were going to break from his clenched teeth. Right now, he was laying on the ground, hard to even move. All of the bones in his body were broken, so how was he supposed to criticize and interrogate the other party? Shahao's eyes were deep. With a raise of his hand, a streak of sword radiance flickered about between his fingers. He really wanted to cut him down. Throw him out of Heavenly Deity Institution. Fifth Elder suddenly said. Shahao felt some hesitation, but in the end still didn't deliver the killing blow. It was clear that the Academy's elder didn't wish for him to be idle here, feeling that he was already taken care of enough. No one expected things to get to this extent. In the end, Yuan Hong was dragged behind Shahao in an extremely shameful manner, and thrown out from Heavenly Deity Institution. After who knew how much time had passed, only then did Yuan Hong recover a bit of strength. He treated his injured body, teeth clenched, feeling incomparably resentful, angered to the point where his liver was in pain, but there was nothing he could do. Right, Sacred Academy's emissary is about to arrive. I have to meet with him. He stood up, and then gave Heavenly Deity Institution a hateful look before turning around and leaving. In the academy, news spread, triggering a great discussion, producing an uproar. Yuan Qing's third son arrived in Heavenly Deity Institution, but was beaten down, and then thrown out of the academy. Just how strange of a matter was this? This was especially the case since the critical moment where cultivators of the two academies were going to choose heroes was about to arrive. Yet Shahao actually directly humiliated Yuan Qing's son in such an undisguised manner. This was a type of challenge. Was he not scared that Yuan Qing would contact the people he was familiar with from the two academies, make things difficult for Shahao? He doesn't really have a choice. There is enmity between him and Yuan Qing that can't be dissolved. So instead of lowering his own stance, he might as well act powerfully. Who knows, perhaps this might still allow him to draw the attention of a few old freaks from the two academies, from this neutralize Yuan Qing's various small schemes. There were people discussing this, feeling shock towards Shahao's way of doing things. Soon afterwards, everyone who cultivated the present world methods and those who studied the ancient methods came out of seclusion, making all types of preparations, about to head to various ancient lands to cultivate. This was especially the case for those who cultivated ancient methods. They wanted to find their own immortal seeds. This was extremely important for them, affecting all of their future accomplishments. Heavenly Deity Institution's scenery was extremely beautiful with many spiritual areas. Right now, Shahao and a group of people had gathered by a dark blue, gemstone-like small lakeside, facing the moonlight while drinking wine. The flood dragons in the lake rose and fell, multicolored light shining brilliantly, providing the lakeside with a misty illumination. There were even more so a few divine fish swimming inside the lake, flickering with bright and multicolored light. We are heading for Realm Tomb soon. I heard that this place is quite strange with many ruins of collapsed small worlds, traces of the cosmos being destroyed and absorbed into the realm tombs. Even though we can try to picture the peculiarities of that place based on the descriptions, it is still difficult to imagine what it is like exactly. Shahao said. I have heard about the realm tomb before too. The white Chilean young beast said. Realm tomb had existed before Immortal Ancient, that place full of mysteries. It was precisely because all types of unknowns that everyone felt a great desire for exploration. That place was extremely dangerous. The outer region was still okay, but many frightening things had happened in the innermost depths. Some exceptional experts disappearing forever after entering in the ancient times. Apart from this, there were some who discovered immortal remains a bit further in. There were just too many powerful individuals who died there. This frightening, what is the point of even going? Someone muttered. Of course, because there is good stuff there. I heard that there are creatures who discovered a perfect cosmos seed there, the most powerful immortal seed. Apart from this, it was rumored that there was even a world tree that was brought out, said the little Chilean. One, being reluctant to admit a mistake. Chaos, mysteries, danger, these were the most realistic incarnations of the realm tomb. No one could say for sure what there was exactly in the very depths, just like how there were other ancient lands that had never been fully explored since the ancient times. Like Origin Ancient Mine, what exactly was there buried within its innermost depths? Or Skyland, what kind of creatures were slumbering there? They discussed this topic tonight, chatting with each other. In the end, they encouraged each other, because this upcoming journey might affect their entire life's accomplishments. If one wants to cultivate ancient methods, then one must have a seed, but finding an unmatched immortal seed is truly too difficult. Right now, there is only the world tree sapling, nascent cosmos, and a few other types, but there's no way these can be seen again, can only be stumbled upon, not sought after. Qing Yi said with a light sigh. As for the others, like Cao Yusheng, Chang Gongyang, Dragon Girl, Feng Wu, and the others, even though they were cultivating present world methods, it was still crucial to their cultivation. It was because not long ago, the elders had told them that they were going to be brought into an ancestral cave, a wondrous ancient land that might contain divine cause. If there was a chance, then they could carry out a great rebirth there, experience a comprehensive transformation from the flesh to the primordial spirit. This could be said to be equivalent to changing one's fate. If the rebirth was successful and thorough, their cultivation path might become wider, their prospects brighter, putting them on a fast track. It is rumored that this ancestral cave has produced immortal Tao creatures, before who became immortals upon birth. Cao Yusheng said with a sigh. That was something that happened in the last great era. Everyone speculated that that might be a heaven and earth placenta, able to nurture all things, seize natural luck between heaven and earth, able to change a creature's constitution. After accumulating for endless years, all of it nourishing a single creature, that creature could naturally become an immortal. Of course, if there are no opportunities, we won't obtain anything even if we enter the ancestral cave. Chang Gongyang said. This time, Shahao and those cultivating the ancient methods were going to look for immortal seeds, while Chang Gongyang and the others who were cultivating present world techniques were departing to change their own life trajectory. For them, even though the paths they were taking were different, this journey was related to too much. Under the moonlight, a light and graceful figure walked over, body swaying back and forth, walking elegantly like a swaying lotus, extremely moving and beautiful. Her skin was snow white, her black muslin dress unable to hide her wonderful body. Her neck was snow white, jade-like arms spotlessly white like ivory, legs long and slender. A heart-moving radiance flickered about her. It was the witch, her beautiful hair moving about, pupils black like black gemstones, skin like fine jade. She was aloof and pure, like a spirit dancing beneath the moonlight. There was already a light laughter sound before she even arrived, smiling and greeting everyone here. Still came out in the end. I thought you were deliberately avoiding me, not wishing to meet old friends. Shahao said with a smile, pouring out a glass of fine wine for her himself. I really was intentionally avoiding you, but if I don't come, then I really would feel a bit of regret. That little girl next to you is already aiming killing intent at me. The witch giggled. She was talking about Qingyi. She didn't appear during these last few days, precisely to avoid her, because the two of them had previously been completely opposed to each other, opposing each other harshly. The opposition between the two was just too great. Of course, the main one the witch was dealing with was still Yu Chan. Qingyi was a second body, so she just got caught up in the disaster as well. One had to keep in mind that back then, the reason why Qingyi was captured and resulted in all types of disputes with Shahao was because of the witch. Without her, many things between these two later on might not have happened. Qingyi released a light HMPH, her clear beautiful eyes releasing 2 stakes of cold lightning. Even though she didn't take action, the hostility was still extremely clear. Hey, little girl Qingyi, what kind of attitude is this? I am your matchmaker, don't abandon your benefactor, after reaching your goal now. Without me, would there be your current sweet relationship? The witch was always rather crafty. Kai. The two women's eyes met. It was as if sparks flickered about in the air, opposing each other with equal harshness. Everyone is friends here, let's not ruin the friendly atmosphere, there is no need to be like this. Dragon Girl tried to smooth things over. The little rabbit giggled mischievously, carrying the snow-white Chilean young beast, wishing for the world to be in chaos as she said, 2 older sisters, why don't the 2 of you have a competition? Qingyi immediately widened her eyes. She was so familiar with this little rabbit, previously even facing many trials and tribulations together in immortal ancient remains, yet this little rabbit was actually trying to stir things up. We are all friends, we can just chat if there are things to say. Shahao also tried to mediate the situation. In reality, after the two confronted each other for a bit, they restrained their divine force, no longer opposing each other, because there were so many people they knew here. so they couldn't just start fighting here. Everyone sat down again, enjoying the good food and wine, the atmosphere becoming lively again. However, it was also during this process that the witch said something, making everyone spray out the wine from their mouths, Qingyi becoming incredibly ashamed, almost risking it all against her. "Don't you have one in there? Why can't I see it anything?" the witch asked. Qingyi was momentarily stunned, while the little rabbit widened her large eyes, directly asking, "Have what?" "I am saying that in the lower realm, I heard that Qingyi had one in immortal ancient remains." "Already gave birth?" the witch asked with a smile. Pu. Alcohol immediately sprayed in all directions, everyone shocked. The ones who were currently enjoying good food were also like this, the food in their mouths all dropping to the ground. Some of the wine and food dropped in the lake, attracting multicolored divine fish. Multicolored light flickered about, these fish swimming back and forth. Qingyi's expression was red, embarrassment and anger mixing together. She was originally graceful, but now, she was immediately flustered, almost flipping the table in front of her. "I'm guessing you already secretly gave birth. Is it a boy or girl?" the witch said, extremely gossipy. Wow, is this real or fake? Older sis Qingyi, you really aren't sincere. How can you hide these types of things, actually not telling me?" the little rabbit cried out strangely. Everyone was a bit stupefied. Some of them knew that something ambiguous had happened between Shahao and Qingyi in the 3,000 provinces' immortal ancient remains. Right now, they really were shocked. It had to be said that right now, Qin Hao was a bit stunned, saying, "Big brother, you too have a child, why didn't you leave that child in the 3,000 Dao provinces? Father and mother really do miss us. If you leave that child with them to take care of, this isn't a bad idea either." Pu. Qingyi almost coughed out blood, standing up, unable to sit still anymore. This was especially because Shahao was also lacking in confidence, acting a bit stunned, looking at her blankly, stammering as he said, "Really? Have one? Where is the child?" These two brothers both had this expression, really were from the same mother after all, their faces extremely similar. At this moment, forget about those who had heard the secrets, even those who weren't familiar with things understood. A few things had happened between the two before, extremely shocking and complex matters occurring between them. This is a happy occasion, worth congratulating. Cao Yusheng slapped the table. Congratulations, congratulations. Even Chang Gongyang, who was a few words, began to congratulate them, move over reaching into his bosom to find some gifts. At this moment, Qingyi already completely woke up, freeing herself from the anger that made her shake all over, face completely red. The first thing she did when she snapped back wasn't to stake it all against the witch, but rather to viciously attack Shahao, who was almost within reach, truly wishing to tear him apart. She had never met such a slow man, truly leaving her beyond angry. This fella was normally extremely smart, yet just now, he put on a dumb expression. There was also his little brother Qin Hao, having that stupefied look. That type of expression, those words made Qingyi want to give him a beating too. Shahao was normally incredibly sharp, but right now, he really was acting stupid. The main reason was because some things really did happen back then, and now that he saw Qingyi become so embarrassed and dumbstruck, he really was stunned, thinking that he really did have a child. One had to understand that a few years ago, he was still wandering around the world, catching vicious beasts and cooking them. He was still a naughty and mischievous youth himself. Now, he actually heard this, that he suddenly had a child, it really frightened him badly. "Stop hitting me." Shahao backed up. If not for his body being sturdy and unbreaking, comparable to a body cultivator, he would have definitely been beaten badly by Qingyi, that refined fist extremely strong. "What is going on? I only mentioned it. Did I end up hitting the nail on the head?" The witch looked immensely proud of herself, pouring wine for herself, her large eyes blinking about, looking like a crafty little fox. Witch, you are slandering my pure reputation. I want a decisive battle. After Qing Yi vented a bit of anger onto Shahao, she directly rushed murderously at the witch. She was as light as a feather, white clothes fluttered about under the moonlight, as if the lunar goddess had descended into this world, incredibly pure and aloof, holy and untainted. You think I'll be scared of you? Just come then. The witch raised a small jar, pouring wine into her mouth, releasing a small hiccup. Her large eyes drifted over, not appearing bothered at all. She wore black clothes, beautiful and crafty like a fairy, going tit for tat with Qing Yi. Kai. A black and a white figure charged at each other, an intense battle quickly starting. Their clothes fluttered about, extremely graceful, possessing an indescribable type of beauty. This feast could be considered to have come to an end. However, everyone didn't feel disappointed, instead rather happy, in high spirits as they watched the battle here. Shahao was the only one with a bitter expression, speechless as he watched. Then, he turned around to give Qin Hao a look, discovering that he still had a shocked, slightly confused expression, immediately pissed off as a result. Peng. He directly slapped his little brother's head. Brother, why are you hitting me? Qin Hao became angry. The moonlight disappeared, a dark cloud drifting over between heaven and earth. An ancient existence rumbled and swayed about, appearing above the academy. This was an iron-blood ancient tree, one of the protectors of the academy. There is a situation. There are intruders. During this peaceful night, under the brilliant night sky, in Heavenly Deity Institution, there was actually this type of warning voice. Everyone became stupefied, not daring to believe what they were hearing. Someone dared infiltrate Heavenly Deity Institution, who was actually bold enough to do something crazy like this. The cultivators in all of the caves and spiritual mountains stood up, even those by the small lake. Shahao and the others were shocked, all of them getting up. The iron-blood ancient tree was incredibly large like a mountain ridge, the roots inserted in the void. Its entire body was scarlet red like blood. It floated in the sky, covering the stars and moon. This was an ancient tree that had lived for who knew how many years, one that could shelter a tribe, defend an ancient city, possessing unimaginable uses. It was previously the guardian spirit of a great clan, only now, it became one of the ancient trees that protected Heavenly Deity Institution. In the night sky, 7 or 8 elders appeared in succession, soaring into the sky. Every one of them looking like they were facing a great enemy, their expressions serious as they looked into the sky. Ever since Heavenly Deity Institution was established, they had never encountered such a thing. Just how many people dared to come and act wildly? One had to understand that this was an academy built by the hidden experts of the 9 heavens 10 earths, with exceptional individuals overseeing it. Who dared to go against it? Not even the long-life families dared to rashly offend this place, let alone deliberately provoking it like this. In that direction, Shahao pointed west. There was an oppressive aura there, sweeping over like a great flood. That was hostility. The enemy was just this brash and undisguised, feeling no restraining fear. What kind of creature? They were all confused. Just what kind of powerful creature was attacking? In the horizon, the stellar light became dim, black mists appearing. There was a strange creature that opened its eyes, overlooking Heavenly Deity Institution, those eyes carrying a deep and cold feeling. It finally appeared. Even though there was still a large distance between them, one could still see a devil mask. It was incredibly sinister, currently gazing in this direction. This devil face was a light golden color. Even though there was golden light swirling about, there wasn't the slightest bit of sacred aura, but rather only a dark and gloomy feeling, extremely ominous, wrapped within a black haze. A great spider. The little rabbit cried out in alarm, because that creature was closing in, gradually revealing its original body. It was even larger than a mountain. An enormous creature towered in the dark mist. It had 8 legs, incomparably sinister looking. It was just too big. When it opened its mouth, golden light surged like a volcano. This was a giant spider, one that was entirely golden in color with 3 heads, precisely a 3-headed king, the 2 heads on its side respectively a human head and a lion head, both of them also golden. The black haze before was too thick, only a single head moving with the night wind visible. When the mist scattered a bit, its true body could vaguely be made out. Heavens, this is a 3-headed king. Someone cried out in alarm, recognizing what type of background its true body had, his expression immediately changing as a result. It was because this type of creature didn't belong to this world. Wasn't this a foreign creature? Why did it appear here? Moreover, it was too powerful, far exceeding the one Shahao had previously killed, its cultivation realm astonishing. Golden 3-headed king, few in number even on the other side, a king race, a peerless expert. The expression of an elder suddenly changed, becoming extremely serious. A blood-colored war spear instantly appeared in his hands. It was scarlet red like carnelian, carrying a baleful aura, scarlet and shining, incomparably sharp. Heavenly deity institutions elders normally rarely used weapons, yet now, after just seeing the opponent, this person immediately produced a weapon. One could imagine how tense the atmosphere was. An ancient language that was difficult to understand appeared. This enormous creature, who was even larger than an archaic demonic peak spoke, its voice resounding, shaking up endless mountains and ravines. What is he saying? He is asking who killed its descendant. There was a powerful creature, who could sense its intention through divine will, learning why the golden 3-headed king came. Right now, everyone shivered inwardly. How did it cross over? Could it be that the foreign creatures were slaughtering their way into the 9 heavens 10 earths? Last time, in Immortal Battlefield, by borrowing the heaven and earth pouch as a spatial gate, a group of creatures, who hadn't fully matured yet, strength comparatively not that profound yet arrived. However, they could only stay within that area, unable to truly slaughter their way over. Now, this 3-headed king appeared, clearly ridiculously powerful, so how did it appear here? What kind of special methods did it have? Heavens, a mature golden 3-headed king, who can match him in strength. Is this world really going to fall into chaos? The foreign creature are slaughtering their way over. Someone said while trembling. This was an absolute disaster no one was prepared for yet. Why is it like this? Are the 2 realms going to fight? Is the world going to be enveloped in flames, blood flow like rivers? Some people's voices began to tremble. There was nothing worse than this. This language that was difficult to understand, powerful and forceful syllables sounded from the 3-headed king's direction. Many people couldn't understand it, but they could see its coldness and contempt. It was because in its eyes, the reactions of the people here were just too lacking in battle intent, lacking a courageous spirit. Its true body didn't come, only using a sacrificial platform to transmit over a void image. Otherwise, its magical body's strength will likely crush the void. An elder said, seeing the real situation. An indistinct altar appeared in the black mist. It was extremely large, at the same time extremely tattered. This was something from immortal ancient, buried a long time ago, only appearing now. The altar shone, many symbols appearing on its surface, extremely complex, but also carrying a type of beauty. Everyone felt as if their minds were drawn to it. It was shining, producing a giant spider projection, allowing it to appear here. This is an altar from immortal ancient great era that the foreign creatures used to retreat. Even though it can't transport them over, casting some projections over isn't a problem. Back then, after the calamity passed, those who survived from long-life families all moved, searching about in the 9 heavens 10 earths and destroying these altars, but there were still a few that were overlooked. The 2 elders spoke, helping everyone understand what was going on. What exactly does it want? Everyone was confused, not knowing why it suddenly appeared here. Not everyone could sense the 3-headed king's spiritual fluctuations. Even though it was a void figure, it was still extremely frightening. Normal people's divine will directly scattering when it reached out. It is going to send an emissary over to deliver a letter. What? An emissary is going to come. They can move between the 2 worlds. The altar was hazy. Countless symbols were released, and then in the end, they condensed into a door, opening in the void, forcefully linking up the 2 worlds, merging them together. In that instant, many people heard roaring sounds, leaving them terrified. Many gods and devils from the other shore roared and struggled, all of them wishing to make their way over. There were undying beings in that world, the most powerful group of ancient creatures, perhaps some who were alive even during the last great era's battle. Clatter, whoosh. Noises sounded. Someone was walking over, moving through that gate, not too rushed or too slow as it arrived in this world. This creature's body was covered in armor, unknown if it was male or female. It wrapped tightly around it, even the head covered by a helmet, only revealing a pair of eyes. Everyone couldn't help but suck in a cold breath of air, because this armor was made of immortal gold, dark light flickering about. Even though that type of black immortal gold was rumored to be inauspicious, extremely strange, it was still extremely eye-grabbing. Darkness immortal gold armor. This emissary's body was actually covered in such a world-shocking armor, truly a bit shocking. That was but darkness immortal gold, one of the most rare and innately precious treasures. Darkness immortal gold, black light flickered about, but it was also sparkling and brilliant, like black jade. It gave the wearer a type of poised and grand appearance. It seems to be a woman, or else why would the face be hidden, covered by armor, not letting others see? Someone said softly. After this human-shaped creature appeared, it raised its 2 hands towards the starry sky, and then took a deep breath, as if it was experiencing something. Right at this time, the armor on its body flickered about, many great Tao symbols shining in response as well, as if they were examining something. It is clearly probing this world's natural laws and strength, making preparations for the all-out attack on the 9 heavens 10 earths. An elder said. Soon after, its armor began to shake, releasing dark light, protecting its entire body. Still rejected by this world. When will this be changed? On that altar, the 3-headed king said quietly, already impatient. You are a foreign emissary. If you have something to say, please say it. An elder said. The creature surrounded by darkness immortal gold was tall and slender, not all that domineering, because everything was isolated by the darkness immortal gold. Right now, it jumped off the altar and walked in the void, heading towards heavenly deity institution. Everyone's expressions changed. This was not a void figure, but a real body, a living expert. It came